Kevin Sorbo joins us now. You all know him as a filmmaker, an actor, a director, Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, which was a great show, and so many other movies and projects he's been involved in. Kevin, really good to see you, man. How are you doing?
Doing great. You caught me. It's a busy day for me here. This was the only hour slot I had to work out, so I'm so sweaty. I just finished working out because, you got what's that governor from Illinois, JB Pritzker? Is that his name?
Yes. He is
He's
not
fighting
working out a
back on
lot.
RFK's health policies, and I just want to look as healthy as JB looks. That's what I'm kind of shooting for right now. So, feel free to post a picture up on that guy. What a physical specimen that dude is.
I'm a little surprised. I mean, there's so many things that he could do, especially as he's talking about running for president, that he should do.
Yeah.
And it does to be at his level of weight actually really does affect your health.
Sure.
I was going to ask you about the Doge stuff, but let me start actually with the RFK Jr. stuff. Because you're into MAHA, Make America Healthy Again.
Heck yeah.
What's top of the agenda as far as you're concerned for RFK to get going with?
It's interesting. His people, and then he called me later when he was threw his hat in to run for president. He asked me if I would support him because we've met a couple of times through the years at charity events, at skiing events and things. And he knows where I stand politically. He's always been a very cool guy to me. I mean, like always. And so I told him, I said, well, you're still a little too far to the left for me, but I love some of the stuff you're doing. And because, ever since COVID, when government reared its ugly head and showed how much they love using fear as a weapon against its people. And I fought back. I got canceled just like most other people did. I mean, Zuckerberg and his minions took me down for posting the truth about all these things. And I got two really good doctor friends of mine. I never will name them, but they told me the whole time that I said 6 feet is ridiculous. Yes. Masks don't work. Yes. All these things. So I'm posting it because I know doctors agreed with me. But that's what got me pulled out of Facebook. But I got to throw out the thing I think that got me almost pulled out of Twitter before Musk bought it. I said, if you want to get rid of COVID, tell the Clintons COVID's got something on them. It'll be the first virus to mysteriously commit suicide.
And COVID's gonna hang itself in a cell with no cameras on suddenly.
Of course it will. Of course it will. No, but I love what he's doing. I love the fact that he's out there and he's brave about doing it. He's speaking the truth about it. And I love the fact you're throwing Musk in that mix. And I just think it's fantastic that we're showing how much waste is out there. We've all known that. We've all known the government is just a big fat belly pig that just throws money around. $50 million for condoms in Gaza or whatever it was. I mean, this is just so stupid to me that we're doing this, and there's not more people aren't upset about it.
Shouldn't we all be able to agree, Kevin, that money going to scammers from the federal government or dead people or whatever, that's just not good, right? There's no good to be achieved from this. So stopping it would be a good thing, but because Elon is doing it on behalf of Trump, now it's not a good thing somehow. That's weird.
You remember prior to 2015, everybody wanted Trump on the talk shows, from Oprah to whoever. Come on my talk show, do a cameo in my movie. The minute he said I'm on the gonna run for a Republican side, they just went nuts. And it's amazing to me the anger that these people have when they're supposed to be the party of love. Remember the 60s when the whole hippie boom was going on and free love and the rock and roll was exploding and the whole thing was don't trust the man. Don't trust the man. And the first thing when COVID hit, everybody on the left said, trust the man, trust the government. And I'm just laughing at that. And they yell at me to, never question the science. Well, what do they think science is? Science is questioning. That's what it's all about. So the insanity of what they were doing and how they're playing in the hypocrisy that they blatantly show every bloody day is just amazing to me.
It's craziness. And I will say one thing about Trump, this isn't a complaint, but it has made things a little bit harder. This administration is doing so much so fast that to try to cover it day to day, as I do for 3 hours, I could have done a whole show today just on what he's doing with the border immigration enforcement and the EPA, but he's also trying to end the Russia-Ukraine war. He's also getting the tariffs going and trying to get more cooperation from Canada and Mexico. I mean, it's all cylinders. It's pretty amazing to watch.
Well, honestly, can Canada really win this battle? Can Mexico really win? I mean, they both need America more than we need them. And I know they'll get hate mail for that because I live in Vancouver 5 years, some of the series, shot movies up there. I love it up there. It's a beautiful country. The people I've worked with are fantastic. But the reality is, both our countries were pretty much founded around the same time in the late 1700s. We're at 340 million. They're 30 million. If it was so perfect, their government was so amazing, and the Canadian dream was as big as the American dream, how come that country hasn't grown? There's just not, they're dwarfed compared to our population, and everybody wants to leave their country. Everybody wants to come to America. There's a reason for that. And now we got all these people that are in America, and the ones that move here want to turn us into the countries they left, or turn us into a third world or socialist country. It's amazing.
What do you think Trump? I don't know if you've seen recently. He's brought it up a bunch of times, and very clearly, like he says, Canada 51st state in some variation of this. Is he just poking them and being Trump, or is there more to it than that?
I'm thinking he's poking them. Canada would never let that happen anyway. I think it's funny. I get a kick out of it. I don't believe it for a minute, and it really won't happen. But yeah, it is fun. The guy is actually very funny. I've known him for 20 years. When I golfed with him the first time back in 2005 at lunch, I told him, I said, this is 2005. I said, you know what? I want a businessman to run America. We are a business, not a politician that's been in office for 30, 40 years. And he said, yeah, that'd be a good idea. Not knowing 10 years later, he was going to throw his hat in the ring.
Yeah, that is one. Actually, I would say there are two things about Trump that are not nearly as widely known as are known by the people that have actually spent time with him. Yeah. He's a really like warm, nice guy. You see the sort of the bravado and the braggadocio and everything on TV. And yeah, there's sure, like he's an entertainer, he's a presenter, all that. But he's actually a really, I've met him obviously with my wife and with different friends of mine. He is really kind to people in person, but also he is really funny. Like constantly says funny things.
Yeah. He's very sarcastic, and it's funny. When you golf with the guy, he'll get out of his car, because you golf fast. In the Secret Service, we got 6 guys with us all the time in their own golf carts. They're like the 2 guys that go ahead to check out. They're the ones that found the gun coming through the fence there on that front 9 at Trump International. But they also are there to make sure the people in front know he's coming through. You got to let him play through. Everyone you play through, he drives up to them, gets out of the cart, shakes everybody's hand, says, thanks for being here. Hope to see you inside for lunch. Do you think other presidents take the time to do that? I don't think so. And it's pretty amazing. And he's always been, to me, he's always been a pretty cool guy. I saw him the Sunday before he did speak in front of Congress, when the Democrats acted like a bunch of 7th grade mean girls, little babies. He saw me. He was walking on the little catwalk up there, and he points down at me, has me come over there, shakes my hand. I said, you remember my wife, Sam? He goes, of course I do. And he looks at me and he says, you know something, Sam? This guy's great, but you're better than he is. So I thought it was pretty funny. He was just giving us a hard time, but he takes the time to do stuff like that.
They all had fun with it, so I think it's something that everyone can kind of laugh about. There's the All In podcast, and one of the guys is Chamath, who has, do you know what I'm talking about? The All In, David Sachs, these guys have a big podcast.
Yep.
But it was funny. They talked about it on their show, and it kind of went viral as a little clip, that when Trump met Chamath and his wife, this is his second wife, who's like a beautiful Italian model, she's like, 28 years old or something. And Trump meets Chamath, who, is a very smart guy, but he's not about to win. He's not about to be cast as Hercules. I'll just put it that way. He's not about to be Hercules. And Trump pulls him aside and goes, you must be really rich, when he meets his wife. Which I just think is very funny, very Trump, taken and Chamath thought it was very funny. Everyone had kind of a laugh about it. But that's the guy you get with Donald Trump. I saw something really interesting, which is a discussion. I wanted to get your perspective on this, because you're one of the rare ones who has been involved in mass entertainment in a very successful way. Obviously, Hercules, as we've talked about before, massive in syndication, massive show. I used to watch it when I was a kid, or teenage. I forget how old I was, but I used to watch the show. And you've also done more independent projects, and have also had success in the independent projects, right? There's not a lot of people that have really played in both sides of that. Maybe they did something on the big sort of mass entertainment side, but they haven't done their independent stuff successfully. Mm-hmm. There was a conversation about how in Hollywood, and people, friends of mine like Jesse Kelly and Matt Walsh over Daily Wire, were having this exchange on Twitter about how anyone who says that it's okay that Hollywood's out of ideas is just being absurd because there's so many, and they started rattling things off. And I've brought this up on my own show before too. The Cortez conquest of Mexico could be the most amazing miniseries anybody's ever. It's one of the most incredible stories in all history. No one's made it. You know, Magellan's journey. There was a lot of stuff about the age of exploration, for example. But there's so many stories from our founding, so many. Why can't this stuff get made still? Or can it get made? Do we need Elon to write $1 billion check for there to be a studio that can actually do great entertainment again? Mel Gibson's talking about Malta. We'll get to that in a second. But what do you make of this?
Well, here's the thing. I think the last 15, 20 years, they've been a little more shy about coming more original ideas because they've had success with these Marvel and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to have to say Hercules kicked that whole thing off. We shot from 93 to 2000. We were the first really action stuff on TV with a couple spin-offs, and everybody tried to copy us from, they had Conan and Robin Hood and Tarzan and Sinbad and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And none of those things were going at that time. But once they kicked off, they just made variations of it. You know, they'll do part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5 of the same thing over and over again because they make $2 billion. But again, even I'm getting tired of watching these things because most of these action movies are about 70%, you know, watching a video game. It's all
CGI.
It's all
way too much CGI.
It's all CGI.
Yeah.
So you kind of go, okay, here we go again. So I think it's starting to die out a little bit. But I think they're just they keep that cash cow going if it's working. I think the independent world, like where I'm in with Sorbo Studios, please go to sorbostudios.com. We do independent movies, and a lot more independent production companies are also out there. And they're a little more original with their ideas and the things they want to put out there. I'm attracted to true life stories. That's kind of what I do. I've got 4 new movies coming up this year and 3 documentaries. So I've been blessed to stay busy. I'm going to direct 2 more movies this year, and I'm taking off for India to shoot an action movie there later in June. So, you know, thank God I'm still busy because Hollywood kicked me out 11 years ago because you can't be conservative and a Christian in Hollywood. That's a really bad thing. And it's just weird. They're like little children. I think, you know, the gays are clearly out of the closet in Hollywood. It's the conservatives that are in the closet now, and they got to wake up and stop being afraid.
Do you know Mel at all? Mel Gibson? Do you guys have any contact together? Because he has talked. This has been a dream of mine for. I have been. So you got to tell him. Buck Sexton will write and consult for free on his Malta project. I've been obsessed with the Siege of Malta for like decades. I have multiple books about it. I love, and I've always said this could be an incredible movie because if you put it in the proper context. It really was in sort of the same way that they had 300, which is about the pass at Thermopylae and Leonidas, the Spartans. It really was a Western civilization live or die moment, you could argue, because if they had taken Malta, they would have used it as a staging ground for the invasion of Italy proper. And this was the Ottoman Empire, the most powerful empire in the world at the time. And Mel is now, is I've heard he's making he's in the process of trying to get a Malta series made. Have you heard anything about that? And if you haven't, I just explain to me to make that's like a $200 million movie or maybe a $200 million, you know, limited series, 5 or 10 episodes. Sure. How do we get that? How do we get that made?
Well, once again, I finally met Elon Musk for the first time 2 weeks ago. And I didn't get a chance to talk to him that long, but I would like a $10 million check to guy to make movies, and I'll get him his money back. I've never lost money from my investors. So we do movies in the 3 million range. Yeah. And Mel told me, I talked to him about an hour and a half, not too long ago. He gave me the whole idea of him and his brother have been writing the sequel to The Passion for the last 5 years.
Really?
And they are going to make that one as well. And he explained that movie to me. And I said, Mel, that's a $100 million movie. He said, no, it's a $200 million movie. Just like the number you mentioned from Malta. Right. I shot a movie in Malta. And that little place in the middle of Mediterranean has gone through just attack after attack, centuries after centuries. And it's still there. And the history there is unbelievable. I mean, there's ruins that date back 9,000 years. So I know that he's looking at that as well. So he's got a lot juggling in the air right now. And unfortunately, the guy lost his home in the Palisades fire as well.
Right. Right.
So, he's got a lot of stuff on his brain.
I mean, when it comes to his body of work, I mean, Braveheart is still probably my favorite movie of all time. I just absolutely loved it. I saw it when I was in the 8th grade, and I've seen it probably 100 times since then. So he's done some incredible stuff. I actually think Apocalypto, for what it is an underrated film. It's pretty amazing, actually. You know what he did with that, and to have it all in the
because it was almost a documentary.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it had that kind of feel to
the
it.
fact that it
So,
was in the native language, whatever it was of the
yeah,
the Aztecs or the Mayas or wherever it was now, I forget.
right.
But I just it feels like there's been a change. Are you hearing and seeing the change in sentiment from corporate America in this new era of the golden age of America, Trump 2.0? Like Jeff Bezos is now was at the inauguration, and suddenly The Apprentice is showing up on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like what could you get a meeting now with Bezos, or rather with whoever runs Amazon Studios to make a series with a $50 to $100 million budget, or do you think that that's coming?
I think it's coming, and you can. I mean, look, Zuckerberg the same way. They did a 180 flip when Trump got in office. I don't know if he didn't get in office, I don't think they'd be doing that. I think it's all, once again, the exposure of the hypocrisy of these people. But I look at it as a positive thing anyway, because Trump's in there. Trump effect is real, and these guys. I would love to have meetings with those guys. Like I said, I don't need a $200 million. Give it to a guy like Mel. Like I said, I like to do movies that are budgets that are manageable and make sense and can get their money back from my investors. That's the kind of things I'm doing. But Mel's still got the power, still got the chops, and he's gonna jump on board and do what he wants. But I know he's gonna do the sequel to Passion for 100%. I just don't think they're gonna start that for another year or so.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I remember when I saw that. That's powerful and made a
It's tough. It was tough.
Made a tremendous amount of money too, which was interesting because at the time all the critics hated it, but it made $800 million or something.
Well, it's interesting, in the Jewish community, they don't like that the Pharisees, that they had anything to do with Jesus and Jesus getting crucified. Well, the Pharisees were Jewish, and they had something to do with it. They did not like the man. They were threatened by Jesus. So I think they're walking on water. I think most of the Jewish community in Hollywood, they play the anti-Semite card pretty much when it just serves their purpose. I mean, they don't. Otherwise, they just kind of lay back. I don't remember many of them being practiced Jews, and I lived in Hollywood for a long time, and my entire teams, from managers to agents to publicists to whatever, were Jews, and I got along with them just fine. But once I got to a point when they said, "Oh, you can't work with you anymore," but I've been to Israel like 5 or 6 times, and I'll tell you, the Jews in Israel love Trump. So totally opposite with the Jewish community in America for some reason. So I wish I could figure that one out. But as I tell my liberal friends, I said, behind closed doors, you're going to admit to yourselves that Trump's going to make your lives better, but you will never admit it in public.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of that going on. Let me tell you, people that are like, yeah, maybe the crazy stuff that was going on with the Biden regime and the dementia puppet and everything, maybe it wasn't such a good idea. Just one more thing for you. I'm just wondering. I know you've but that's an incredible record that you say you're able to make independent films that make money. Just being able to make independent films is I know people that have tried to do this. That's impressive enough, but you've got the background where it's not easy to do. The fact that you actually do it as a capitalist and it's successful, I tip my hat to you on that. But if somebody gave you, is there a historical epic that you would want to do, or a project of any kind that you would want to do, that if you had whatever budget you needed to do it, you already have in your mind, this is what it would be?
Yeah. I would like to redo the musical Jesus Christ Superstar. Because when the original one came out in 70, 71, it was they made it modern day. It was totally affected by the hippie movement, the free love movement, and it's just horrible. The soundtrack is fantastic. Andrew Lloyd Webber did an amazing soundtrack. I was telling Mel about this when I said it. He goes, "Well, good luck with that." But I was just like, I would like to redo it and do it set in biblical times. And I would book all the characters of people that really could sing. I mean, there were some great voices in the original, but overall it was just so bad. It was so dated, and it doesn't need to be dated. I mean, you can go back to the 40s and see Casablanca today. It's not dated. It's awesome. It's such a great script. I would love to do a Jeremiah Johnson type of movie. I'm a big fan of that Robert Redford movie, and to me, it's but Jesus Christ Superstar. I think for $80 million, I could do a great job with it.
Kevin Sorbo, everybody. Kevin, what's your production studio? Where should folks go online to see your next projects and support your work?
Go to sorbostudios.com. That's sorbostudios.com. A lot of great things come on the pipeline. I got 3 great documentaries come down. One deals with the Last Supper. It's called Eating with the Enemy. It's with Brent Miller and Ingenuity Films. I did one with him 3 years ago called Before the Wrath, that deals with the second coming. It was the #1 documentary on Amazon for 5 months. And I want to give a plug for my buddy Ian Wendt. veteran who does Patriot Clothing. Go on his website as well. Great guy, and support our vets.
Wonderful. Kevin, thanks so much for all you do. Good to talk to you.
All right. God bless. Thanks.
Look, having quality firearms is a great thing, and having firearms at a price point that's unbeatable, even better. It's where Bear Creek Arsenal comes in. Bear Creek Arsenal is absolutely an all-American company making firearms that are going to be your favorites. And I'm talking pistols, rifles that are upper receivers, lower receivers, absolutely fantastic. Go to bearcreekarsenal.com today. That's bearcreekarsenal.com, and just go pick out a new firearm for yourself. They send it direct to your FFL, no middleman fees or anything like that from their advertising. They are doing great stuff for you. You're going to want to check out Bear Creek Arsenal today. Go to bearcreekarsenal.com.